Hey guys, welcome back to another little mini chit chat video. Welcome back to another little mini reaction video. So, before we go ahead and get into the topic, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Shout out to all of our Purple Heart members. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. Shout out to all of our new subscribers. Thank you guys for joining the family. For those of you who are not yet subscribed, we ask that you guys go ahead and consider joining. We'd love to have you guys. Sorry, I got a little bit tongue tied there. It's been such a busy day. We're here battling a massive snowstorm. It has been a constant day of shoveling and salting, and still more snow is coming. And it looks like we'll be in again tomorrow, doing the exact same thing. So we're officially snowed in. The schools are closed and universities are closed. Most of them, and yeah, out in the countryside, people are kind of staying put. So, with that being said, I've been watching the news all day and, catching up on my news content and all of that. And I was watching something just now, and I'll leave the link to the channel in the description. You guys can definitely check it out. I was watching Reese Waters, and he was reacting to a story from an independent journalist who went undercover and got hired by ICE and she exposed the fact that there was no drug screening and just non-compliance for a lot of things that you would expect would be there if you're going for a job interview of that caliber. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised once it came out in the media that they had changed some of the recruitment requirements. They actually removed the high school diploma requirement from the hiring um, requirements. So I knew then and there, basically anybody can walk in and get a signing bonus, get a gun, and deputize and send out to round up people. Nobody cares about the background check. None of that stuff is done. There was no drug tests. All that stuff was kind of exposed in the undercover reporting piece. But the most interesting part, which is the part that I'm gonna link to the video that I made prior to this one, where I kind of touched on it a little bit, but I didn't go into depth. I'm gonna do so now with the whole Insurrection Act thing. Okay, so we're past that. Now we're into what I believe will eventually be cancellation of the elections. Okay, so we talked a little bit about that in the last video, and in order to bring about this type of reality, you're gonna excuse me. Excuse me, the heating system is going because it's extremely cold and it's making the air dry. So excuse me. Mm, just drink some water. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so in order to bring about and maintain this type of reality, you're going to need a national security force that is 100% entrenched in the ideology. So there will be no breaking of ranks, there'll be no dissent from within. And in order to do that, what better recruiting pool to have than the January 6th rioters? They already align with the ideology, so you don't have to kind of hammer it home. It's already set in place, and you know already how far they're willing to go. So there is no loyalty test needed. Like, you don't need to sweet talk them, you don't need to hide the truth, you don't need to lie, you don't need to do any of that. They will sign up willingly to get it done. So a lot of people are now concerned that within the ranks of these ICE agents, you're gonna have these January 6th rioters, and these are going to be some of the most violent and aggressive members. And of course, you'll have them deployed in states where there will be the most resistance to this type of change that is going to be brought about and forced upon the populace. So in the video I made prior to that, I talked about the fact that um, you need to have control over the military to get that done. And you have seen in the news and in the media over the last couple months, there's been like purging of all the top brass and the people in the ranks that would offer that dissent, and they have been replaced with people who will not. So that's already been taking place. I feel like the military has already been assimilated, it's been infiltrated and fully taken over, and they're on board with the ideology and everything going forward. So that's done. But like with every good dictator, um and every good totalitarian government, every nation or country that has a huge percent of the military which is controlled by the government running the country, you have the personal guard. I think Putin has his personal guards. I believe there are other countries, other leaders, they have their personal armed militia that is specifically trained to protect them to the death. So, of course, you have to have that over here too. It would not be complete, honestly. So, I'm not shocked to hear these allegations, and that's what they are, allegations. And I believe that the allegations are true, but that's just my personal belief. It makes total sense, actually, right? And in these days and times, the stuff just comes so easily to you. There is no rabbit hole to go down. There is no digging around. There is no conspiracy. It is right there out in front of you. All you require is common sense. That's it. So yes, it makes perfect sense that you'll have this militia of the January Sixers masquerading as ICE agents, doing what needs to be done. And once that is done and taken care of, and we get into the martial law and the canceling of the elections, of course, you're going to have that uprising from within, because people who value democracy are going to be just like so completely incensed with the fact that the elections have been called off. It's going to be anarchy, of course. So you're going to need um, your personal militia, your personal security, or whatever you want to call it. And that's where, of course, these people will come into play. So it makes complete sense. And it's actually been there in plain sight. You see, this thing originally, for a lot of people, excuse me, for a lot of people, including myself, this thing started out like, okay, is this race? Is this like the race war thing happening here, or what's going on, or is this like what is actually taking place? Because at first it started out attacking, the the minorities and taking away this holiday and stripping this down and taking this away, and then it started with the attack on the education, taking away the board of education and this and that and the kids and the curriculum, and then it just morphed into something else, and now we are at the bare bones of it. I feel this is it now. Like, this is where we're at. We've ended here. So this is what it is. And in order to, like I say, maintain the reality that is going to be attempted to be brought about with the whole, all these insurrection, this and martial law, that and this and that, is going to be cancellation of the elections indefinitely. That's it. And you'll have to maintain that because you'll have constant pockets of massive uprising. But if you use that kind of force that you've been demonstrating, like, it's not just Venezuela and and other countries that are being put on notice. It's the general population as well, right? Either you play ball or like your national identity is always up for discussion, right? As soon as you don't play ball, it's just, how American are you anyway? you know? Like, are you American American, or like did your family come here like 3 years ago, two generations? One, it gets dicey, right? The minute you offer any resistance, you could lose your identity just like that. All of a sudden, you know, your family fighting in two wars is not enough. They need to have come over here on the Mayflower. Do you understand? Is their name in the books? Did they land in any of the wars? Right? So like this is where it's going. I'm sorry. I don't, this is just where it's going. All this nationalistic stuff and all this, white nationalism and all this stuff is just one big cabal of this. This is what it is, a totalitarian country with the government and the military backing the government, and the general population either go along to get along, or you might end up in one of these like Ecuadorian or somewhere in Liberia or somewhere rotting in jail waiting for Amnesty International or somebody to come get you. It's really really crazy. So I just thought I'd go ahead and talk about that since I already made a video today talking about the insurrection. We'll just end it off with the whole, you know, um thing with the whole ICE agents being the rioters. That's another theory that's floating around. Let me know what you guys think. Does it make sense? Do you feel like there's some bite to that? I do. I honestly do. And I started thinking about that once they removed the educational requirement, not in a rude way, but in a factual way, meaning that any and anybody, you don't need to be qualified, you don't have to have military training, you just have to have the willingness and the guts to do the dirty work. And that's a very dangerous, dangerous, dangerous mix because these people are getting like firearms and stuff like that, big rifles and things like that to go hunt down people. And you mix that in with this type of hatred that comes with the far right, and you're in for like a whole heap of problems, right? People are getting shot now left, right, and center in Minneapolis. A guy got shot in his leg, some Venezuelan national trying to run away, so they shot him in the leg. There's like a zero outcry. That guy in Florida, Keith Porter or Mr. Porter, if I say his first name incorrectly, I don't mean any disrespect. He was murdered before Miss Good, right? Just a couple of days. And that barely made the news. So it's starting to slowly become the norm. Like she was a mother with like stuffed animals on the dashboard in her car, like her whole face and everything just across the front seat, right? And you had like what, 2 or 3 days of outcry, and then now it's just back on the people in Minneapolis fighting day and night on live television. Everybody's tuned in watching with popcorn. Like this is like become a Netflix series. Everyone's just watching as long as it's not in their city and not in their backyard. And the people in Minneapolis are paying the price, right? They're putting on this performance over there, and people in power are loving it, talking about, yeah, I watched it on TV, it's like super entertaining. Who needs like entertainment when you have like real life to entertain you, right? So this is becoming normal, and just more and 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 more. So let me know what you guys think about this whole crazy situation. And thank you guys so much for your time, and we'll catch up with you guys in another video. It has been such a long day. Honestly, I just need to stop watching the news at this point. Like literally just stop watching the news because it's not getting any better. Anyways, guys, we'll catch up with you guys later. Deuces.